tell me a little bit about your former incarnation as
Hmm.
Saint Germain?
Uh, Absolutely. I can tell you a lot about it, but I'll keep it brief. In that lifetime, I was born to Spanish and Portuguese parents who actually weren't married. Uh, and my birth was foretold by some of the astrologers, some of the mystics of the time. It was an arranged birth, an arranged marriage. When I was about 7 years old, I went off to Romania, to the area of Transylvania, to the mystery schools that were run by the Ricazzi family at the time. And there I received extensive training in everything from the occult to science, mathematics, astrology, uh, just everyday life, even. But we had a different type of learning. There was about 20 or so others in the schools that I was in. We didn't study mathematical tables. We didn't have to memorize history. We literally felt into the energy of the books that we were given. We allowed ourselves, for instance, in history to transport ourselves through time back into that time to really grasp it. For things like mathematics, we felt into the energy of math rather than just the writing out the equations, and very, very unique training. We also learned things like alchemy. We learned about nature, but all in a very, very different way than is learned in the schools today. At about 20 years old, I received a knock on the door of my room one night, and they had my satchel, my suitcase, ready to go, and I knew it was time. I was being asked to leave, and I left with the clothes on my back and a few goods in the bag, and nothing else. No money, no direction or anything. And this was perfect. I knew it was coming, so there was no fear. But now it was time to go into life. Now it was time to be amongst others. I found that I never had to have a job. All the money, all the gold or jewels I could ever want were always there. I ended up with numerous estates all throughout Europe, horses, teams of dogs, all the best. And the point here was I never had to work. You see, it comes to you if you allow it. It comes to you in various ways. I would walk into a village and find that somebody was very sick and needed healing, which I would do free of charge, of course, but I would get paid very handsome sums. Or I would consult with governments, businesses at the time, and they were more than happy to pay me handsomely for the work I did. Money was never an issue, nor it should be for any of you listening. Now, I feel some eyeballs rolling here. Well, Adamus, you don't understand, but I do. I absolutely understand. When you get over the whole abundance issue in your life, the poverty consciousness, it comes to you, and in various ways that you couldn't possibly plan, but it's just there. So, in that lifetime, one of my main goals was reuniting Europe, trying to bring the governments and the countries together, as well as getting over the old feudal system, the monarchy. Its time had come. I could feel it in France. I knew it was coming. I lived in that last lifetime in the 18th century, so I knew it was time. And some of the courts, the royalty, understood why it was time to step down, why it was time to create the democracies. Others did not. There were times when I had to run from the particular castles barely with my life. Other times they were very, very accommodating. But in that lifetime, I spent a lot of time working with heads of government to get over the whole system of peasantry, which was very prominent at the time. Part of my surprise was that I found that many of the peasants actually didn't want to be released from that system. There was a comfort in it, even though it was miserable. They weren't ready for their freedom. And this was one of my great surprises. They wanted that lord over them to tell them what to do and how to do it and when to do it. And even though they complained about it, for them it was more comfortable than being out on their own. I made numerous trips to the United States of America, working with the founding fathers and helping to develop some of the energetic designs for this country, for the Constitution, and work closely also with the various groups that were helping to design this country's philosophies and energies. So it was quite a lifetime. In that lifetime, in my last few years, I moved off to the north of Germany, where I saw nobody for several years. I had my dogs, everything else I'd given away. But I spent time writing, reflecting, and knowing it'd be my last lifetime on the earth, collecting myself and saying goodbye to this great planet. So that's the short story of my last lifetime on the planet as Artemis Saint-Germain.
To watch the full video, click on the link below, and don't forget to subscribe.